My mother come from Lucca, Italy, and my dad came from Buti, which bears the family name, in the province of Tuscany, in the state, you might say, of Pisa. Italy's designations of states, counties, and cities is a little different than ours. But I was born here, first generation. They come here to seek a better life. At that time, the way I was told by my parents, and there was just no future, practically whatever. You were subjected to having to work and serve property owners that had control of all the properties. And there was hardly no opportunity to go out and buy a piece of land, you might say. It was all tied up. We see the same thing developing here, where people are coming now from outside the country with all kinds of money that are buying up anything that's for sale. Because where they come from, they couldn't own nothing. There's a handful of landlords, property owners owned everything. Well, I've done several things. We took over, my dad took over 3 Japanese nurseries when the Japanese were moved out of the area, the Bay Area, and he leased 2 of them and bought 1. And so we were in the flower business for quite some time. But that was not my ambition. But in addition to that, leased a large parcel of land and went into farming because tomatoes, for one thing, were very high on the priority list during the war. See, we're talking now war years. In other words, that changed everybody's lives. Young men that were working on farms were drafted in the service, and so land came up for rent because farmers that had larger parcels couldn't farm them. What I really wanted to do was to get back into the machine trades, which I started that way as a teenager. I lied about my age to get into a shop. Sorry to say, but that's the truth. And I was intrigued with machine shop operation. I wanted to get back into it, and I did. I finally ended up back in the machine trades after having done other things. I always more or less regretted the fact that I didn't carry through to get degrees in college degrees or things of that sort. That came at a later time, and that's important. Whether you use it or not is not the issue now. The issue is to take something that you think you can handle and get a degree in that category, and when you've done that, you may never use what you actually thought you were going to use it for. But what it does, it prepares you for other things. you learn discipline, and you learn things that you say, well, I don't know what it is, but I know what book it's in. And I know what textbook to get to find out. And that is what's important, is to know where you can get the knowledge. Well, I'm delighted with the fact that you said you read my books. What came about with writing the books was the fact that the family now then, my own family, said, Dad, when you're gone, that's it. There is no more. We won't know anything about what took place in your lifetime. And so I started to put it down in notes and stuff. And then little by little got more involved and more involved. Then I went into research because I knew things that took place. And knowing that, then I knew where to go to look to find these things, find this information. And then found families through names that I remembered. And there was other first generations like myself. And in one case, especially, one of my dad's colleagues was still alive. And he was in his 90s, like I am now, believe it or not. And I couldn't believe it when I found the person, to be truthful. And my God, like you're doing here now, the information that I got was unbelievable. Just unbelievable, what it was like then. When you talk about success, you have to consider what do you really mean by success. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a pile of money. There's a lot of people who have a lot of money and they're a total failure. They ignore their families. I consider a family man that raises a family, puts food on the table, a roof over his head, he's got $1 in his pocket, and he's a decent citizen. He's a success. He's a success. And don't let yourself get into the position where it's more important that you watch a goofy program on television when you have a textbook sitting over there that you should be thumbing through. And the texting and all that is all well and fine. But if you're going to monkey around with that text phone and that laptop computer carrying on some kind of a trade-off with somebody else, God knows where in the world, you follow me? That produces nothing, non-productive. You got to think in those terms. Remember what I'm telling you. Look in the dictionary and see what it says about self-discipline. And you might be surprised what it might tell you in that dictionary. You can learn a lot in that dictionary. And then, of course, we're back to wasting your time. Don't waste your time. Your time is too valuable. Now, you need a little bit of relaxation. We know that. And then some sports and some things. But don't let other people eat up your time uselessly.
Hi, I'm Delani Waller.
I'm Crystal Stone.
And I'm Dezareé Rebottaro.